Jacqueline, hey, I am beside myself that you are here with me today as my guest on a Cup of
I,
Clarity
I can't
podcast.
believe it. I can't believe it because we go back a long way and I'm used to one-on-one and here we are, miles apart
Miles
and on
apart.
camera. Seems a little bizarre, but I
It's
like
the
it.
technology, though, which we both discussed that we
Technology,
don't like, but here we are.
here we are.
You
Yes.
look fantastic as always, I have to say.
You look fantastic, but love is blind, right? We
Thank
love
you.
one another. So,
I had a
yeah,
little help. I had a little help from the Glam Squad today, I'll be honest, because
that's
you're not
good.
just any guest, you're a very special guest, not just for my podcast, but in my life. You were just recently on a trip with Brad to Barcelona and Paris.
Oh,
How was that?
well, we both got COVID. He got it, and then I got it. And so I'm sort of still, my voice has not come back from it affected I had like sore throat. But we walked with a mask 5 miles a day,
Oh,
looking
wow.
at everything and seeing everything. So it didn't hurt our trip. Were we at our best? No, but we loved it. And we hadn't had a trip in, 2.5 years because of
Wow,
COVID.
of course.
So we had fun. And, it made me realize we need to travel more. People are
Absolutely.
people are traveling. This new variant is highly contagious, but people want to be out there,
Yes.
seeing the world. And as you know, Paris and London are my favorites. I'd never been to Barcelona. Um,
I haven't
and
either. I've heard it's
it was,
amazing.
people are warm and inviting and approachable, and it was just great.
How
Every-
fabulous. I'm so glad you got to do that. So I have so much I want to talk to you about today. But before we start our conversation, Jacqueline, I always ask all of my guests what they are grateful for in this day. So what are you grateful for? I know it's many things, but
So many things in this particular day or in
yeah,
my
this
life.
particular day.
Um, wow, the sun's shining. It's beautiful. I'm surrounded with my family and loved ones. I have a husband that's coming here and doing something that I don't know how to do here on this computer that I'm going to learn. Life is good. We have our health. We survived COVID and we're working and challenged and it's all rejuvenating, all that to your life, to not
Yes,
just sit. I'm busy,
absolutely.
challenged every day. So,
Well,
but I mean, always grateful. Number one on my life is family, is my
yes,
background. That's the best. Nothing to compare.
absolutely. Speaking of lasting friendships, we've, as we mentioned before, we've had a lasting friendship, but your relationships are really important to you. I know that firsthand. And many of your friendships have spanned like a lifetime. I can name Jose Iber, which you say is like family, and former Charlie's Angels, Cheryl Ladd. You've had a lasting friendship forever with her. What do you attribute your lifelong friendships to?
Well, I think loyalty and honesty and not surrounding yourself with people that just say what they think you want to hear.
Right.
They give you real opinions and real wisdom and points of view about what you're doing, what they're doing. So, really, it all comes down to the simplicity of just being authentic
Yes.
with people. And I have, Nancy, a friend that I grew
Yes.
up with. We
From New
started
York.
our careers, yeah, started our careers together. And, I pick up the phone, call her, gosh, this happened. What do you think? It's sometimes a different point of view.
Point of view.
And we need different points of view to challenge us. And we need some criticism. Without criticism,
Yeah, we don't
we don't
grow.
grow. We don't grow.
Yeah.
And so I welcome criticism. And that's something as an actress you better get used to.
True.
When a director comes and says, "Can you play it?" It's not quite right. And you just have to hear that and take it in.
Yes.
Take it
I
in.
know you mentioned earlier that family, is where your heart is. And being a mother, I know, has been one of your greatest accomplishments, despite all the accolades that you've received over the years. And I'm curious to know, what lessons have you learned about yourself from being a mom to Gaston and Spencer Margaret?
Oh, wow. Okay. Because recently somebody said something about being a mother, and I said, I'm probably a better grandmother
We'll get
because,
to that.
yeah, I think because with my children, oh gosh, I mean, I wanted to catch every raindrop. I wanted to, oh, we got to do this homework. And, oh, my little girl, my Spencer Margaret, she's a big girl now, but I wanted her to eat every vegetable. I wanted her to, and hey, you worry, and it's not that, it all works out in the end. Thank goodness I'm married to Brad, who doesn't worry, and said, she'll eat when she's hungry. But,
Right.
I punched a clock. I punched a clock. I used to call it after school the wild hours because dinner, and I made it a point that we had to sit there. So what I learned with my grandchildren is you just, whatever comes, and you don't
Right.
have to punch a clock. And all those little worries usually work out.
Mm-hmm.
They do. My mother had an expression, today is the tomorrow that worried you yesterday.
Oh, I love that.
All is well, and be in the moment, and
Yes.
but there's a freedom to being a grandmother, because I'm not there doing the nitty gritty. I'm there for the joy and the
You're
fun.
there for the fun. I was just about to say, both your kids are now parents, and they've each gifted you an amazing, beautiful granddaughter, which you have an amazing relationship with each of them. How are B and Olivia doing?
Well, they're doing amazing, and they're different. B's 5, Olivia's 3. They're total opposites, but they love one another. And we just had a weekend where
I saw that.
we
You were
take over and
you were
sort
doing
of,
sports, right?
yeah, doing forts and making Olivia's noodles, her special noodles that were raw, and but I don't know. I think grandchildren keep you in the moment. With B, her imagination is unbelievable. So one day we might own a pet store. One day we might be mothers with babies. Then Olivia will go to the playhouse and she'll serve me tea and put flowers. So they're total opposites.
Yeah.
And you just, you go back to innocence, and you go back to being a kid with them.
I think with children, as you know, I was an educator for many years and a classroom teacher for some time. And to me, I used to love to go out in the playground and just watch the kids play,
Right.
because it was just sheer joy. They were present for that time in recess, whether it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and they were just out there with their imagination. Okay, you're going to be this, I'm going to be that. And it was just playtime. And so I can see where, being a grandmother would just bring you to presence, and your life is very busy and very full. So I know that
They
is
take me to another whole
a
place,
whole nother place.
and I don't answer the phone when I'm with them, and I just try to have that
Me.
unstructured
It's
time,
me. Yeah.
which is very important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get sometimes, but with them, I do it. I just, boom, it's their time.
Yeah. And we all need that in life, whether it's, you're your grandparent, you have grandchildren, or whether it's with your own children as a parent and they're young. We all need something to bring us to a place of joy and presence, at least once a day. So it's great. It's great that you have that. And I encourage, my listeners here on the podcast to find whatever it is that brings them joy and makes them come alive and brings them to presence. So find whatever that is for you. Jacqueline, you've talked about your idyllic life growing up in Houston, Texas. And I'm wondering, and this is a conversation we haven't had, how was it hard for you making that transition from that kind of bubble that, your parents created for you when you moved to Hollywood, and the incredible fame that came from Charlie's Angels? Was that hard for you to make that transition?
Well, definitely it was an adjustment, because once you're on a show like Charlie's, you're never going to, walk down the street. I mean, yeah, you can and go unnoticed, but in general, that show had a tremendous audience share.
Yeah.
And those people have followed me with my branding and been very loyal. So your life takes on a total other than what I had, this quiet life where probably I would have opened a dance studio and
Yeah.
taught ballet. So, your life is out there for judgment. You're out there for judgment. So it was, I think in general, I've had a pretty good go with the tabloids, because I
Yeah.
lead a life. But when things are printed that aren't true and you think your life is based on truth, that was an adjustment. Or for people to want to know all the personal aspects, which I'm kind of private.
Yes. Very much
So
so.
that was an adjustment, but there's sure some perks to it. It opened up branding. It opened up never standing in line
Yeah,
at
I
a
was gonna say, never standing in line at Disneyland.
yeah, with my nephews, they reaped the benefit. My kids didn't because, time moves on. But, in general, I loved every minute of Charlie's Angels.
Mm,
It was an education. It helped define me as an actress. It opened up doors for me. So I think things happen for a reason, and it was
yeah.
meant to be. It
How
was
did
meant
you how did you stay grounded though? As
to
fame
be.
grew and you got more projects, how did you manage to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and not let it go to your head as many celebrities I know happens to them? You've always been so approachable, so down to earth, just so open and authentic. And I tell people when they know that I know you, I say exactly how she seems is how she is times two. She's even better, as a personal in person.
Thank you, Jeanette. That's kind. That's kind. I think that I had the best parents in the world. I had a grandfather that was my everything growing up, a Methodist minister. The values were in place there, and I admired them. So I wanted that life for myself. I've led a very probably, I didn't, there was no question of, I lead a very clean life, no
Yeah, you
drugs,
do.
no alcohol, no, and I think that can be enticing. Hollywood, I used to call it, a Hollywood lifestyle. I just didn't go there.
You didn't have
And,
it.
um, so I really attribute it to my upbringing, to my values that were
Yeah.
instilled in a young girl. And I had
And
the
I think
best.
that's something you and I share as friends, and I think is our sense of values, and our values are very similar. What would you say are three truths that you live by, or what would you say are your three, top values that are important to
I
you?
think always be true to yourself, who you
Mm,
are. Don't join a club that you have nothing in common with. Find people of like mind to you.
yes,
Honesty.
yes,
And I think my faith, follows me. My faith sees you through a lot. It
yes.
really does. It's seen me through a lot. And I guess that's my grandfather's influence on
Yeah,
me.
that
I
foundation.
saw a totally incredible human being that, that was just totally good. And he practiced what he preached. So I think, I think those things, I think, honesty is so important in life and following your heart. I mean, you can be distracted and people say, well, you should do that. You just have to stick to your
Yeah,
set of values.
yeah. To who you are and be authentic in life. I think the older I get, the more I seek out friendships that are authentic, and
Right.
deeply connected as opposed to the superficial stuff. I find that I have little patience for superficial type friendships or things
Yeah,
like that in
I
life
call it,
anymore. Maybe
yeah.
when I was younger in a social circuit, but nowadays not so much.
But I saw that in you years
Mm,
ago.
yeah.
And that's why we're friends, because I think we related to something in each other that was innate and true. And that doesn't happen all the time, just to meet somebody in a line or another time, in Washington. So, I think light attracts light,
Yeah.
and you're attracted to people
Yes.
who
And
you.
I also believe that whatever's meant for you will always find you. So
Yeah,
those people that are meant to be in your life, this door that's meant to open for you, if you're in the right place in the right time, it's gonna happen and it's gonna
right.
align, as you said. You were talking about your life, and you have had a very incredible life. I know you'd agree with me on that. But as you told me recently that, and it was in a text message that you sent me, that none of us escape, the difficult moments in life. that we all
No.
have to kind of go through it. And you've had your
Right.
share of difficult
Yeah.
moments over the years. What I'd like to know is, knowing what you know now at this stage and age of your life, what's something that you'd like to go back and tell your younger self if you were able to?
I think nothing greater to fear than fear itself. I don't know who said that. Some famous, was it Edison? I don't know. So I think, certainly, I think when I got breast cancer, that was a moment that stopped me in my tracks. And I thought,
Yes.
wow, yeah,
That was
that's
back in 2002.
yeah. Hmm. So it taught me to go toward the fear, to educate yourself, to not be afraid.
Mm.
There's a line on it, when I joined something called, I was part of Strength in Knowing and
Strength in
Formation,
knowing.
yes, on breast cancer. And I say, go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. I think we can be, live in a tight box and never venture out,
Yes.
and we never grow. So, there were things I was afraid of that today I would have done. Um, Things I've turned down, even in my work. You have to push yourself. You have to go toward the fear. As I say to
Absolutely.
my children, each day, do something sort of, within reason, frightens you.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Venture out. Put yourself on the line. You must put yourself on the line, or you never grow. You never get anywhere. You never experience the unknown.
Hmm. But we hold back because, like you said, because of fear, and the things that are uncertain
Yeah,
in our
right.
lives, and we worry, as you were saying before. So taking that step out of the box that we sometimes put ourselves in. I think a lot of times we put ourselves in a box because of the internal critic that says, this is about as far as you can go. You can't do any more than that. Who do you think you are to try this or try that? And then we just stay put, with our feet firmly where we are. But if we can
Right.
get past that, I think that voice in the head that says you can't, and kind of say, well, why not? Why not me? And just take a step
Well, yeah,
forward
and
with
I think
confidence.
it's all about going in an unknown terrain.
Direction.
Venture in, venture out, venture, and try your hand at new things. I think a lot of people get set in their ways and
Mhm.
they don't want to try anything
Right.
new. And I've tried a lot of new things lately. So, and I think
What's
it's exciting.
what's an area you feel you've grown the most as a human being?
Oh boy.
Talking about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Um, well, I try not to control so much with my loved ones.
That's
If
funny
you
you
worry
say that,
about them, yeah.
because
I
that's where I feel I've grown the most too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's letting
So
go.
I think you have to let go and put it in God's hands and say, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to make
Right.
this right, but I can't make everything perfect.
Perfect.
And I can't protect against whatever might come their way. Do I worry too much? Yeah. Do I love my kids so much that it stops the world?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And if anything hurts them, it's just a million times more for me.
I think
And
that's any parent. I think we all
if
feel that.
they're hurt, then it's a cannonball thing. And yeah, so I will say my husband has a handle on that. Why are you worrying about that? It hasn't even happened. And he's a good leveling force for me because I do want to protect and control, and it's not easy, and you can't.
Yeah, one thing I just tell my clients, when it comes to that, because I've been there wanting to control everything for one reason or another, is to just be aware of it. I have a saying that says that awareness is the greatest tool we have at our disposition for changing our lives. The minute we can become aware of something that we're doing that's not serving us, that's when we can start to enact change. So the fact that, you're aware and I'm aware that, control was something that we needed to work on. And each day you just take a step closer to being aware of the fact when you're doing it. And then we get to pull back.
I'm a person of strong opinions, so certainly, I have a son, I have a daughter. My daughter, she has her own way of doing it. My son will come to me and say, "What do you think? What
Yeah.
how do you do it?" And oh boy, But I've learned with my daughter, Spencer Margaret, she's smart. I have to step up my game to keep up with her.
Yeah.
I'm less is more.
Yeah.
I can't say too much,
Right.
because she's got it under control. And but those are just two different kids. I've raised them the same.
Hmm.
My son welcomes every opinion I have. It's
And I think
funny.
that's interesting you say that, because I think as parents, I only had one, as you know, but for parents of multiple children, 2 and 3 kids, and they have different personalities and different ways that they need from you as a mother or a father. And it's important to recognize that they're all under the same household. They all came from the same 2 parents, but they're all completely different and need parenting in a different way. So it's
Yes.
interesting to hear you say that, how you have to kind of be with
Yeah.
one and the other.
Yeah. And then when they were little, on the weekend, as they got older, I would do one Friday with Gaston, one with Spencer
Oh,
Martin, and then they would choose where we would have dinner, what their activity would be. And I really found that because there's a competitiveness when you have two sometimes,
siblings, yeah.
that it was great to give them their own space to say whatever they
That's a
wanted to
great
be.
thing to start. I love that.
I
Yeah,
love
their own kind of like date with mom or
it.
time with
Yes,
mom.
yes, yeah. It was fun. Fun.
Jacqueline, I know that besides your amazing work on TV and all the things that you've done over the years, you mentioned your brand before, and I know you were one of the first like celebrity pioneers of branding over what, 35 years ago with Kmart.
35. I was
Yeah,
with Kate
and
for
I
30.
know you decided to trust your intuition with that, because many people, as I've heard you say before, told you, don't do it. That's not a good
Right,
deal. And you
right.
trusted your gut instincts and you went with it, and it went extremely well. So have you always trusted your intuition?
On career decisions, yes, it's what I really think I should do, and I follow through, even if somebody says, don't do it,
Mm,
wrong move. No, I do have a strong feeling about what's right for me.
yeah.
And so I turned it down, but then when I took the meeting and saw a line of clothes in there at a particular price, I thought 100% cotton shirt, very reminiscent of Ralph Lauren. I thought they can do this at this price. This is something I want to do. This is unknown terrain. I'm going to
Mhm.
learn this. I'm going to learn, how you put apparel together, how you put a line, how you market, all the things, the price
Yeah.
point.
That was
So
stepping out of your comfort zone, just like you were saying.
yeah,
Absolutely.
my mother wanted to be a designer. That appealed to me. She had a great sense of style. So I thought, this is going to be, you know,
Was there
fun.
ever a moment that you thought, what if I fail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was on, I didn't know people would come in and buy something I had designed. So yeah, I thought, this will be sad, but I'm going to give it my all. And guess what? Over 100 million women have
Yes,
worn
super
those.
successful. And now you start a new chapter in your life, and you've transitioned into a new line with RGD Global, right? And
Yes,
that's a new fall,
that's
holiday
what.
22 launch.
Yes, we'll be at Nordstrom Rack fall. And then spring, I'm going to be on home shopping with,
Wow.
so, it's non-exclusive. So I'm going to reach more people this way.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm very thankful for what Kmart taught me. It was an education.
Yeah.
But this is going another step up the ladder. And
I'm very excited for you.
I'm excited. And
I
I
got
hope
to see the line at your house this past November when I was there, just a few pieces of
yeah,
it. In fact, there's one piece I want to talk to you about after this interview is over.
okay.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
was an
anything you
amazing, it was an
want,
amazing
Jeanette, is
line.
yours. I would love to see you in it. So it's good
What are you
advertising.
most excited about this line, this new venture?
Well, first of all, I'm working with people that I had worked with at Kmart at one time.
Okay.
And Bruce Goldberg we're a team. We think alike. They understand me. They have a sense of who I am and what I should wear, and they welcome my point of view.
Nice.
So it's collaborative. It's just a very cohesive group.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And I know that I'm going I'm taking this word, this apparel a step up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a little, it's going to cover all the bases. Like this faux fur. I don't know if you saw that when you were
Mm-hmm. I
here.
think you had a jacket there that was that.
Yeah, yeah. And these are things I want to wear in real life. And a hallmark has always been fit. So, we're across the board. I mean, that's been, when you get a size 10, it's a 10, an 8, it's
Right.
an 8, and we do plus too. So I think we're going to reach more people this way, being that it's not exclusive to one store.
Yeah. I know that being in a creative state of mind is really exciting for you. What does that do for you?
Well, it challenges me every day
Mhm.
because, you have to know what's happening in the world socially, economically, politically. That all affects sales. That is, having your hand on the pulse of what women want. And, women, COVID, they were in sweats. They were in, they don't want that now. They want to step up their
Yeah.
game. They want to be feminine. They want to look good. And, I think that when you're designing, it isn't just about the pretty outfit. It isn't about the wonderful sweater. It's really what's happening in our world in so many ways, socially, economically.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That's interesting.
And I think you need to know how to reach the greater needs of women.
Mhm.
And that's by tuning in to the
Yeah.
world, reading, knowing,
Mhm.
knowing how women are thinking, where they shop, what they want. I'll tell you one thing that's been hard for me is social media, but that is your calling card.
Mhm.
That is your card to the world. So
Yes.
I can reach Germany, I can reach France, I can reach England, and you can answer the questions right there. And
I've been doing more. I'm kind of like I love it, and then there's times when I'm like not so sure about it. But I've been doing more social media myself because I realize I have a message, that
mhm,
can help people in my coaching business. And so, how do I reach them? Is by just speaking. And even this humble podcast has now reached people in 47 different countries and like 473 different cities across the world. Who would have
yes,
thought this when I started it 2 years ago? And so, going back to your comment
congratulations.
about stepping out of your comfort zone,
Yes.
never in my life had I done something like this. And I just decided I felt the calling to do something like this. And here I am. It's in the second season, having you on as a guest. And it's getting the message out from guests that come in and give their expertise or solo episodes. And it's just amazing. So I'm
Well,
glad to see that you see just even being a designer of clothing in a more broad perspective than just selling pretty clothes. No, it's
right.
interesting to hear you say that. I kind of want to shift to something for a bit and talk about beauty because you have been synonymous with beauty forever. And I feel, Jacqueline, like we live in a society where we have really young women now in their 20s getting the Botox and the fillers and the lip injections
Uh,
and all these things. And I want to hear your perspective on aging. What
oh God.
advice can you give
Well,
us about aging with grace? Because you have done it amazingly.
I think that aging is just a fact of life, and you better roll with the punches. Do the best you can. I mean, I think beauty has to be wedded to something deeper than Botox or
Right.
fillers, or, as you know, I'm not for fillers. I do think there's lasers. There's many things you can do to keep yourself young. There's consistent skincare
Yes.
that helps. Um,
Nutrition,
Nutrition, exercise,
sleep.
so important. Being good to yourself.
Yes.
Taking a day to go for a facial or go for a massage.
Yeah.
I think beauty, can turn on you. I think that women should not lose sight of who they are. And I think sometimes faces change so drastically. I have a friend that always said, I have to listen to the voice to know who the person is. And
Oh
I'm like,
no.
that they've
Terrible.
changed their look. I mean, yeah, if you can enhance, do it. Be comfortable. But I think being obsessed with anything is not good, because
Yeah.
then you do go too far. So less is always more to me. And there's natural things you can do.
Hmm. Like use your skincare line, which I want you to tell us
You love
about, which you developed with your husband, Brad.
Yes. And, you know, it's been great for me. As you know, I think retinol is the gold standard of anti-aging.
Yes.
I have 2 night creams, one retinol and one, you know, repairing cream in case the retinol's too harsh. But it's pure retinol. It's not retinol palmitate. And I think that really is the best thing for diminishing lines, pores, discoloration.
Yeah.
And I have a day cream with diamond dust, pearl dust, reflects light. So it's nice when you have that, because when you reflect light, you take the, lines, discoloration away.
I
Uh,
remember you telling me many years ago, lighting is everything. And I've always
Lighting
remembered that forever.
is very important. And I have a body cream, I have an eye cream, I have an exfoliator. And I think what Brad did, take the things I had used and take cutting edge, because every year is something new. Hyaluronic acid
Sure.
retains water better than anything that we have today. He put in the eye cream hydroxyl and Syncol, which one diminishes dark lines, dark circles,
Circles.
one lines, builds collagen. All these things, antioxidants, all this is very important to know about. And my day cream also has UVA and UVB.
Also
That
important.
because the sun is the most damaging thing we can
I
do
have
to us.
hyperpigmentation, so I have to really take care of myself when it comes to the sun.
It's not showing Jeanette
Well,
today.
it's not
I mean,
showing because I had the glam squad here today.
my spot is good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're looking beautiful. So, but
So
I
where can
think
they get where can they get all of what you've just
online,
mentioned?
Jaclyn Smith Beauty, JaclynSmith.com.
.com.
And then it's under, I'll have my apparel, my skincare. I have a line of wigs for Paula Young. I have a line of fabrics under
With
the
trend.
heading Trend for Fabric Cut. And I've just done a terrace with all my fabrics, indoor, outdoor, and we're enjoying it so much. I think I have some Instagram where I've shown the fabric.
Some reels of that.
Great when you have grandchildren, because they can, eat, spill, paint,
And you just
and
clean it right
rub
off.
it up with soap and water. So the branding keeps me very aware of cutting edge ingredients and things and how people are
Yeah.
thinking. And it's an everyday thing. You don't
Mhm.
phone it in. You have to be hands-on. And I am
And you
hands-on.
are, and I think that's something that I know those that have followed you for many, many years, I think appreciate about you, that you're just not someone that lent your name to something. You're literally there in the thick of it, in the planning of it, lots of planning meetings, whether it's one part of your brand or another. You're there really
Right.
giving your direction and your view on what it is. And I
Yes.
think that's what makes your brand stand out for the longevity that it's had.
Well, I do enjoy the education, the stimulation. It's rejuvenating.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
being in that
You know
creative
what?
state.
If you don't want to be hands-on, don't do branding,
Yeah,
because it is about team and it is about work. You can't phone it in.
yeah,
And that's why things don't last. So
yeah. I'm happy to hear that you found a new team now in RGD Global with your new
I
clothing line.
love,
That's exciting.
love, love. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have them
Yeah.
behind me.
So all guests, Jacqueline, answered this last question because it's called a cup of clarity. What has been a moment of clarity in your life? And I'm sure you've had many, like we all have had, but can you
Yes.
think of one moment of clarity in your life and what did it teach you?
Well, I have to bring up the breast cancer again,
Mhm.
because that stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
And I felt so healthy and nothing's wrong with me. And I went directly to fear. And am I going to be here to watch my children grow up?
Yeah.
That was the first thing I asked the doctor. And he said, absolutely. This is early detection. We got this. So again, may I say, early detection, being proactive about yourself.
Get your mammogram every year.
Yeah, get it every year. If I had waited, maybe my prognosis would have been different. But I think what that did is make me realize how important the moment is. And I had sort of taken a back seat in my career. And at that time, I went out, I did The District, I did the Charlie's Angels movie, I launched a furniture line. It made me get up and go and make hay while the sun shines. You know, it was important to never let the moment slip away.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a moment of clarity. Um, and the realization, just see my husband out there, that it not only affected me, it affected the
It
whole
affects
family.
those you love.
And that was hurt. That hurt me. So I didn't, you know, it was scary when they were affected by it. So I really had to hold my head up high and go toward the fear and say, hey, you know, I'm fine. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And they were right there with me. And again, girlfriends, the
I was
power.
going to say, you had a lot of girlfriends that stood by your side, went with you to your radiation treatments and so on.
Never went to one alone, but you know, if your friends aren't near, there's, you know, like strength in knowing. They associate, you can meet other women going through something that you're going through at the same time. So you know, again, friendships, family, it's what it all boils down to at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think it probably made you more resilient, right?
Absolutely.
Through that whole experience in the end.
If I can get through this, I can get through anything, you know, because
Absolutely.
I think you think, oh, you know, radiation. You know, I did a lumpectomy and radiation and boom, I flew through it. So I realized I'm strong. But, you know, I think that every single day now, where I didn't early on, I think, yeah, we all go through a lot, as we know, even though no how perfect your life looks, I'm strong. And I'll get through this and I'll get through whatever is thrown my way because, you know, I have a good set of values and I have my family and that sees you through.
Yes, absolutely. So I always like to do a little something with my guests at the end, and I call it the recommended segment. So I'm just going to give you 4 categories, easy, and you're going to tell me what you recommend in each. And I'm going to start with one that I know you know and love, and that's Netflix. So what's something that you recommend on Netflix now, Jacqueline?
The Queen's Gambit, Inventing Anna, Emily in Paris, because I love to look at Paris. I don't care what the words are. I'll just see the city. Yeah. There's a lot off of Netflix I love too that I highly recommend. The Offer on Paramount Plus.
Oh, I don't have Paramount Plus.
You can get it through Amazon.
Okay.
Try to watch it. You'll love it.
Okay.
It's what went into making The Godfather, but it's more than that. It's character study from all the characters in it. It's great. So First Lady, I want you to, I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it yet. I have to see that one.
Wonderful. Wonderful. 3 First Ladies, Betty Ford, Michelle Obama, and Roosevelt. So.
Yeah, and played by amazing actresses I've seen.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that alone I'd want to see just there.
So that's a little veering off Netflix, but I had to tell you.
Okay, I'll find it. What about a book? I know you and I have recommended books to each other. Even my sister has recommended books to you.
Yes.
What you love?
Well, I'm going to do one of my own, you know, Donna Tartt, Goldfinch. I love Where the Crow Sang. I love Pat Conroy, who's no longer with us. So if you haven't read his work, Get Beach Music, Prince of Tides, Lords of Discipline.
Wasn't one called The Pearl? No,
I didn't know.
Maybe not. Maybe it was Beach Music. What's a supplement you take?
I think vitamin D is good. It fights cancer.
Yes.
Helps your bones. And mentally, you know, it fights depression. A lot of big things that vitamin D does.
Yes. And we don't get enough of it, even if we go out in the sun.
Because we wear sunblocks, so
Yeah.
we need that supplement.
And what's a destination you feel like everyone should see in their lifetime?
Well, that's a hard one because I
I
haven't
know
been
you've been to a lot of wonderful places.
I've been to a lot of wonderful. I would say Paris. I love
Paris.
Paris.
Paris is always a good idea.
Beautiful, the color, the architecture, it's just all there. But I mean, Barcelona was, every new place, and I have many, many more to go to.
Yeah.
Many more.
I'm happy to see you traveling again because I know it makes you happy.
It does. It does. And London is because I work there so much, and I have stepchildren there, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
Antiques. I love antiques, as you know.
And all those places you can find them.
You find them.
So I have to say, we've had many wonderful conversations, you and I, over the 15 years that we've known each other, whether it's on the phone or whether in person. But I have to say, this is one conversation I know I'm going to treasure because it was on my podcast. So I want to thank you for being here. I know you are busy all the time. So for you to be here with me today has been just an absolute pleasure. And I tell you this all the time, and you know it. I love you, and I'm blessed to be your friend. So thanks again for being here today.
And I love you. So we'll do it again. Okay.
Thank you. For you, the listener, I hope this episode sparked the insight within. Thank you for listening. You know I appreciate you. And to learn more about Jaclyn, her clothing line, her skincare line, and all of her projects, go ahead and visit her website at jaclynsmith.com. Or you can follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Real Jaclyn Smith. Remember that you can also watch this episode on my YouTube channel. You can get the whole episode with the two of us. Until next time, friends, I send you love and light. May your cup be full and overflowing.